The film opens in 1990 with two young siblings, Michelle and Chris. Chris, a prodigy, is preparing for an advanced test when soldiers stop him, just because his shirt has a Cosmo robot on it. In this world, paranoia about robots is running high. Society is on the brink of war between humans and machines. We meet Ethan, a brilliant but cold scientist who reflects on how humans once used robots for labor, but discarded them when they malfunctioned. Eventually, the robots rebelled, led by a machine named Peanut, demanding rights. This ignited a global war. Robots, tireless and precise, began winning. Then Ethan introduced neurotech, a technology that allows humans to control robots with their minds via neurohelmets. These neurocasters helped humans win the war, and society became addicted to this new tech. After the war, robots were imprisoned in a massive facility. Neurotech evolved, letting users live dual lives, experiencing leisure while their minds controlled robots elsewhere. It became a core part of society, especially for the younger generation. Fast forward to 1994. Michelle, now a teen, resists neurotech in school, preferring to stay connected to her own mind. A flashback reveals she lost her family in a car crash. At home, a Cosmo robot appears, claiming to be her brother, Chris. He asks her to connect a wire to her head. When she does, he speaks, confirming he carries Chris's consciousness. Michelle is stunned. Their foster father finds them and reacts violently. The robot defends Michelle and they flee. Chris reveals that a doctor, whom Michelle vaguely remembers from her hospital stay, knows the truth about what happened to his real body. They set off to find this doctor. On the journey, they see a society addicted to neurohelmets, with people losing touch with reality. Meanwhile, Evans, a former soldier, is dealing arms to rogue robots. Michelle and Chris sneak onto his truck, which is headed to the robot facility. Michelle's foster father alerts authorities. The government hires Major Mark, a war hero, to destroy the illegal Cosmo robot. Michelle and the robot eventually confront Evans. He initially threatens them, but changes his mind when Michelle shares her story. Soon, Mark attacks, but Michelle and Chris manage to escape with Evans's help. Along the way, Michelle learns that Evans was injured in the war, and his life was saved by a robot named Tim, who now protects him. Meanwhile, Ethan, whose mother is suffering due to neurotech exposure, learns that Chris's genius mind was the basis for neurotech. Chris had resisted being used, and part of his mind escaped into the robot body. Ethan, fearing exposure, orders Mark to retrieve the Cosmo robot. Michelle's group is eventually captured by scavenger robots and taken to their leader, Dr. Peanut, the original rebel. Michelle explains their mission, and Peanut, moved by the story, offers support. He reveals a doctor named Keon, now living in hiding, may have the answers. They find Keon, who confesses that Chris never died. He was in a coma. Ethan used his brain to create neurotech. Keon secretly transferred part of Chris's mind into the robot to preserve him. Michelle is heartbroken. Before they can process it, Mark attacks with upgraded neurocasters. A brutal battle ensues. Keon urges Michelle to flee. Chris is captured, and Peanut is badly wounded. At the robot prison, Ethan begins merging the robot's consciousness back into Chris's comatose body. Mark grows uneasy, sensing Ethan's cruelty. Michelle, devastated, nearly gives up, but Evans pushes her to fight. A surviving robot reveals that if Chris wakes up, the entire neurotech system will collapse. Michelle rallies the remaining robots and Peanut for a final assault on Ethan's lab. Evans pilots a giant robot, leading a massive battle against Mark's forces. Amid the chaos, Michelle sneaks inside and forces scientists to connect her to Chris using a neurohelmet. Inside his mind, she finds him in a simulated version of their childhood home. Chris is aware that he's being used to power the neurotech system. He begs Michelle to end his life to stop the corruption. She's torn between saving her brother or stopping the technology that ruined the world.